It's true.
It's a big twin bill here at the Voice of College Football tonight. I always look forward to this one, but I think Jason looks forward to this just on a completely different level. So, Jason, hang on. We got to keep him restrained for a while. You got 2 hours to go nuts. Got a 2-hour live show here, starting Florida State, transition to Miami, but they're simulcasted on both channels. So, Miami fans, hello, we're here talking Florida State football, the team with a better record. And coming off a demolition of Georgia Tech 41-16. That, of course, is Jason Parker, NBC6, and Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day. We don't have a show without these two. Here we go.
Well, we did one last week without Logan, but I just want to say real quick, Logan, do you like those words? Just say those words again. Florida State, Miami week. Like it just it rolls off the tongue. Plus, I guess it feels better now that we have a better record than them.
Yeah, back on a not a streak yet, but on a winning column. Absolutely, to get out of that 3-game losing stretch against really good ranked teams that were just ranked in the college football playoff rankings that we saw on Tuesday night. But yeah, it feels good to get a win, definitely at home like that, and took care of business as expected. And you head into a game now where the hurricane flags are up on the practice fields, and it's Miami week. There's nothing better. First time Mike Norvell will be able to be in Miami for it after that 2022 COVID year where he tested positive. So he alone, I know, is he's probably the most excited out of everyone around the Florida State fan base and the coaching staff and the players for that. So everything's setting up to be a really fun Saturday night on prime time where the Hurricanes get to use FSU's logo to get on a national broadcast on ESPN3.
Hey, their hustle's phenomenal. Their hustle game is phenomenal. Actually using us to actually sell out their stadium for the first time this season. Actually get on a prime time.
Are they really going to sell that out?
I mean, there are tickets. The game was sold out before the season started, before Miami. You know what? We're going to go back and forth on Miami and Florida State, but let's give Miami some credit. We beat Georgia Tech by 25 points, big blowout win over Georgia Tech. Miami did get a win last week. Wait, hold on. They kicked 4 field goals and got a 2-point conversion? That's how they beat Virginia?
Couldn't score a touchdown in 4 overtimes.
Yikes.
Which, of course, obviously, the final 2 overtimes, you don't get to score a touchdown. But, yeah, they had sufficient time to try to score a complete football game in 2 overtimes to try to score a touchdown.
Yikes. Oi, as the kids say.
Toughy.
Oof, gross.
Yikes.
I gotta say it, Mark. You've got me here for an hour 20. You know, I can't totally bash the University of Miami in the first 5 minutes. You got to save it over that time. Mm-hmm. We got to save it when Cam Underwood comes in.
Yep.
So
once we get the comments to get you fired up,
there we go.
And Cam will be here to get you fired up. It should be good.
Cam is actually trying to ban me from the press box at Hard Rock Stadium because I've been there. The last 3 games I've been to football, they've lost. So I think he's actually signed a change.org petition to try to get me banned. So let's see how that turns out this week.
Well, I got to say the power of Jason Parker is at work because most fans are scared and fearful that they're going to jinx their own team. But you are obviously a hex on Miami football.
Plus, I think you're the one who's jinxing us because every single time you talked about our win streak, we lost to Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson. So,
you didn't have a win streak after you lost to one of them. So I doubt if I was talking about a win streak after that.
It's called deflection. I'm just deflecting it on you. That's
okay.
That's all we're doing.
Well, I will say that Miami comes in at 4-4 and Florida State at 5-3. But I will say this in front of Cam. There's really no comparison between the quality of the teams as it stands through 8 games at this point. Florida State's beaten LSU. They played down to the wire against a good NC State team. They played Clemson close, even though they got whipped kind of in that middle 20 minutes. They made it a game. The quality and level of play where Miami has basically looked awful and struggled past the 2 probable worst teams in the ACC, Virginia and Virginia Tech. And other than that, they've got their Bethune-Cookman win in Southern Miss. It's the levels. We talked about this during the offseason. Florida State had the most difficult schedule in the ACC, and I think that reflects in the record right now. The Florida State played Miami's schedule.
With that being said, Mark, I'm going to say this one thing. Last season, we've talked about this before, and I've sat through Florida State beating Miami 47-0. I've sat through Miami beating Florida State 52-10. I've sat through every wide right, wide left, block at the Rock. I've been to them all. We had no business beating Miami last year. Miami was supposed to come into Tallahassee, was supposed to just whip us, give us our 7th loss, knock us out of bowl contention, put us out of our misery, and we got the win. So anything is possible in this series. So I think while Florida State is a 7-point favorite, 7.5-point favorite, and they should be, I guarantee you Mike Norvell is not taking Miami lightly at this point.
Oh, I wouldn't take them lightly. The talent on the two rosters is very comparable. It's just Florida State's played a capable season. I know not everyone's happy with the 3 consecutive losses and, and all of that, but every game they've played like a football team, like a good football team, like a decent, capable, even at their worst, where Miami, outside of playing Texas A&M okay, and now we see what Texas A&M is, they just haven't had a good game, period, the entire season.
Let's save our bashing Miami when Cam's in the room. I want to see his reaction to some of our comments.
I'm neutral on the topic. I just call it like it is.
All right, Switzerland.
That's who I am. That's who I am. I just call it like it is. And that's what I see right now. I see a Florida State team that I would say is about the 25th best team in the country, roughly, and Miami's more like the 60th best team in the country.
Unfortunately, there's only a top 25, but we're not in it. So, but there's still a chance. There's still a chance. Florida State has the schedule ahead of them. You've got Miami, Louisiana, and Florida, who are all 4-4 at this point. Syracuse is our toughest game record-wise left. So there are plenty of opportunities. We'll talk about that over the next hour and a half or so. But to quote the great Michael Jordan, the ceiling is the roof for the Florida State Seminole football team.
Marcus, we appreciate your question. We will get to that at some point, especially when Cam jumps on. We can address the recruiting ramifications for both schools, but let's start with the Georgia Tech game. Jordan Travis, was that a career high in passing? I think 396 through the air, plus a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver. Logan, that was an impressive performance. It's what a good team should do against a bad team, is just stomp them out from the opening kickoff.
Yeah, and felt a lot like the Boston College game. A little bit of a rougher start. I think the bye week went into that, just kind of getting the systems going again, getting the rust off a tad. But once they got going, they got going. And yes, Jordan Travis, have a day, why don't you? Almost 400 yards passing, took care of the ball well, 3 touchdowns, throwing. Obviously had some big-time connections, one of them being with Johnny Wilson, who, is a guy who has the size and the physicality, but then can run after the catch, and he goes down and scores, which was really impressive. Jordan Travis, Norvell said it in a couple of the practices before we got into game day that he looked kind of pissed off, ticked off, just angry, and he practiced angry. And whatever that was within him put him into a caliber of being one of the best quarterbacks over the weekend during his performance. Jordan Travis, I think, is going to have a nice latter half to this season. And I'm glad that he kind of learned a few of those mistakes. And sadly, they were against ranked opponents, though. That's the crappy part about it. But if you can go through the rest of the season with a quarterback that's playing that smart, taking care of the ball, and utilizing his legs when he knows he needs to, and playing safe, then you feel pretty optimistic about the season ahead, at least offensively, when you've got a running back room with Trey Benson, Lawrence Toa-Philly, and then we'll see this upcoming weekend with Trayshawn Ward and his availability. You feel really optimistic about that backfield that Florida State holds, at least offensively. But a little bit of a rougher start, Jason, and some mistakes. You had 2 timeouts called on one drive there so early on in the game. Jordan Travis said today, that we don't ever want to do that. There was just mistakes that were being made and had to clean those up. But other than that, pretty clean. Way too many penalties, though. Mike Norvell does not want that at all. Over 100 yards in penalties. I think 13 on the day. That can't happen, and it can't happen this weekend when you're going to be going against a rival with Miami.
Well, because Shane 47 Crip apparently wants to beat up an FSU fan, so I would say come bring it at Hard Rock. Maybe if you can get off your shift at Publix and actually come get some if you want some. So
eyeball, yeah. Or with the anime avatar that he has there. Well, I'm not too worried about that guy.
Probably still lives at home with his parents. Probably still, borrows the car from mom and dad. But that's fine. Do your thing.
Tell him Nickelodeon's on later.
Nick Jr. probably more for him. But
probably.
Looking at Florida State, like you said, Jordan Travis, 396 yards. the defense holding Georgia Tech to 264 yards in the game. But I guess my question is, and I don't want to be the Debbie Downer on this one, but is there any concern for you, and something we've talked about, is that I still think Florida State has not played a complete game all season. You look at every single game Florida State has played, win or lose, and especially in the wins, there's been at least one quarter where you're like making mistakes, not playing well. Does that concern you, especially with what's left in the month of November? Yes, obviously Florida State right now is a better team than Miami and then Florida, but those are rivals. And then we have all talked about what the rivalry game means in Syracuse right now. That's going to be a tough game next week on the road. Does it concern you right now that Florida State still has not played a complete game from kickoff to the end?
I think these last stretch of games are really going to tell us that they do want to play a full 4 quarters. Like I said, there was too many mental errors that were going on in that first quarter for Florida State on Saturday, and that made them not put up more points. Like, this game should have been over, and I thought it was going to be over. It kind of practically was a little bit going in the third quarter. Georgia Tech gets that onside kick there, and Florida State's been really good on special teams to fix some of those things. And, that was just a really smart play there and desperate thing that, the Yellow Jackets had to do. But I'm not too worried. Definitely when you're going until at least this weekend. We'll see how it goes against Syracuse this weekend. Florida State has done a good job of preparing for games, big games, primetime games, and they've done a good job of doing that on the road for the most part. Just a few. I mean, you got close, at least outside of the Louisville LSU game, your neutral site game. At NC State, you were close there. You had a chance to go ahead and win it. Jordan Travis, and there was some miscommunication there, and a mistake was made where you almost come away with a ranked win on the road. So Florida State, I'm not too worried. And you also have Mike Norvell on the sideline this year. It's going to be a lot better, I think, of an outcome for Florida State on the road down there in Coral Gables.
Big game James Coleman joining us live from Jacksonville. The Wi-Fi is working. He's got everything set up. It looks like it's okay. So, James, I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Logan. And obviously, Florida State with a convincing win against Georgia Tech, dominating on offense, dominating on defense, but still had some struggles early on in the first quarter. Does it concern you at this point that Florida State still has not played a complete game from start to finish? It has not had a game where there's been at least one quarter of, we're still making mistakes. Does that concern you with what lies ahead in the month of November? 2 rivalry games and the Syracuse game on the road.
A little bit, but mainly, I just look at it this. They're still trying to find cohesion. There's still a lot of players or parts that are still very new. But what's uplifting about this game is that it seems like everybody's coming together at the right time. It seems like everybody's getting healthy, and we should be able to see the first time Florida State's been this healthy since beginning of LSU game.
I agree. The health part is huge. And I think, too, what was wild to me is seeing Fabo get that many snaps, most snaps on defense. What in the world, man? I mean, he's definitely pushing to get the bag and everything, but I just thought it was great to see him out there playing as much as he did, and he's going to play better than he did last week. You get that rust, and I'm sure James can talk about him more as being a player on the field and going through injuries, but you get that first game, you get the rust. He hadn't played since friggin' LSU, man. I think that you're going to see a better performance out of him. Rivalry game. Florida State did a really good job of getting pressure on Tyler Van Dyke last year. He's going to play a big-time impact in that tandem with Robert Cooper on the side. Those two just feed off of one another when they're out there on the field. So I'm expecting a better performance from Fabo. And not like he had a horrid performance, but in big games you rely on big players, and that's Fabian Lovett.
My question for both of you guys is looking at the stats right now. Trey Benson, 18 carries, 111 yards. Toafili surprised me, but both 13 carries for 70 yards rushing and 5 receptions for 84 yards, including that big 62-yard touchdown reception. With him playing, if he can step up and continue to play that game, if Trey Benson can have a 100-yard game, how would you, and obviously Mike Norvell has said right now that Treshaun Ward is progressing towards playing. How would you, James, use Treshaun Ward in this offense for the Miami game with this being his first game back? Should he play?
I mean, I think everybody should play. I would first start off with Trey Benson, get the feel of the game. But what Trayshawn Ward provides you is a patient runner that knows how to run the offense a little bit better. When you don't have Jordan Travis for whatever reason not utilizing his legs in the RPO, you need a guy like Trayshawn Ward that's going to be able to let the holes develop and then be able to set things up. But I think you got to figure out the best way to work all of them in. Trey Benson, I don't think needs to have all the carries.
Mm-hmm.
I also am not the biggest fan of Toa Philly in the backfield. I think mixing him up though, playing him and letting him run routes, letting him be able to do all these different things, I think that definitely helps out a little bit more. But I think anybody that you have that's somewhat healthy, it's all hands on deck. Funny story. When Miami came up to Tallahassee and beat FSU convincingly, and that was Willie Taggart's last game, Cam Akers didn't play. I remember talking about if it were me, if that was Cam Akers' last game, it's going to be Cam Akers' last game. I'm not getting fired by not running Cam Akers. And it ended up being to the detriment. But if we got to win, the biggest thing is you got to come out of here with a victory. Whether it's a blowout, whether it's a close game, doesn't matter. It's got to be a W. And I think if Trayshawn Ward definitely helps with that.
First of all, I didn't know that Mark was such a homer for us, but apparently the fans think Mark is a Florida State homer.
I come on here and I tell the truth. That's my role. I tell the truth. I'm neutral. I just cut it straight. I tell the truth. I provide my information and knowledge. And right now, it's that even though Florida State's 5-3 and Miami's 4-4, there's no comparison between the level of play that these two teams have put on the field. Florida State plays the most difficult schedule in the ACC, and they've played the likes of Wake Forest, Clemson, North Carolina State. Sure, they didn't win the games, but they've played them capably. They have shown that they belong on the field with those teams. They also beat LSU, who's now ranked in the top 10 in the college football playoff selection rankings, which I don't put a whole lot of credence in, but I put more stake in my rankings, and I've got LSU in the top 10. So Florida State beat them. And Miami's played the likes of Virginia Tech, Southern. The schedules aren't even comparable, and Miami hasn't played a good game yet.
And that's what I think. Here's and being down here and listening to Miami fans talk, there's a lot of Miami fans who were sold on what was going to be. And here's the thing. I've heard the same thing with Randy Shannon when Randy Shannon was hired. I heard the same thing when Mark Richt was hired. I heard the same thing when Manny Diaz was hired. It was always, here's a Miami guy. A Miami guy was somehow going to be what was going to turn it around for Miami, with Randy Shannon being a Miami native and a former Miami player, Mark Richt being a former Miami player, Manny Diaz being the born and raised in Miami, the son of the former mayor of the city of Miami. Mario was supposed to be that guy. What concerns me is if you're the University of Miami, knowing what is here in the month of November, you've got games left with your biggest rival, Florida State. You've got to go travel to Clemson, and you finish off the regular season with the defending ACC champions, Pitt. In between there, you've got Georgia Tech. There is a chance that Miami could end the season not being bowl eligible. And for a team that was predicted to win the ACC Coastal, that would literally, I don't want to say it would completely implode what Mario Cristobal's mission is at the University of Miami, but it would set it back a little bit. So I think that's the question you have to have right now at this point is what will Miami bring to the table? Do I think Miami has the talent on their roster to compete with Florida State and possibly beat Florida State? Yes, they are a talented roster. Do they have the maturity to get it all together and beat Florida State? And you have to look at it and say a blowout loss to Middle Tennessee State, who has not won a game since, a blowout loss to Duke, literally going 4 overtimes with Virginia, a team that, yes, Virginia did beat Georgia Tech, but I would argue that Virginia is just as bad as Georgia Tech at that rate. That's
Georgia Tech's backup quarterback. That's who they
are. Right. Absolutely. No,
right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But I think you've got to look at it from that fact that Miami has not lived up to expectations at this point. And I would say to an extent, I said Florida State would be 4-4 after the month of October. So I think there's an argument that Florida State at 5-3, playing 4 teams left in their schedule who are 4-4 at this point, I think there's a legitimate argument that Florida State has exceeded expectations so far at this point in the season.
The funniest thing about Miami fans, and Miami fans in the chat, y'all please feel free to educate me because I envy you.
Oh God.
I am jealous of you because you're the only fan base that could somehow take somebody and feel like you can reinvent them, like the world doesn't know who they are or can't look at their resume. You took Randy Shannon, who was a part of your losing stuff, and you anointed Randy Shannon. You took Al Golden, who nobody believed in, and you made us believe Al Golden was going to do something. You made us believe Mark Richt was a badass, and you said people hated you when nobody hates Mark Richt. Everybody likes Mark Richt. You took little Manny, who, remember, I tried to tell you, I think I've said it on your show too, Mark. We know him. He was little Manny. He was our videographer. Like, he shot videos at Florida State and broke down film like his snaps. Like, never played, just broke down films. And you made us believe he was this goon when he was little Manny. And you celebrated him going to the Nike Coach of the Year clinic and giving guys Bud Light Limeritas, which aren't bad beverages on a hot day. But when you go to coaches' clinics, you like liquor and you know, but whatever. And then you took Manny Cristobal, and you tried to make us believe that, forget FIU, like FIU didn't exist. Like, he won like 10 games maybe.
Hey. He won the Little Caesars Bowl at FIU. So let's give him some credit. Free Little Caesars pizza for the media. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is, I graduated in 2002. I just celebrated my 20th high school reunion. Miami, that was the last time you won any kind of that was your last national championship. But every year since you've won that, you were saying you're back. I envy the energy that you guys come with. I mean, you guys were on boats with Manny, which wasn't a yacht. It was like I don't know what it was, but yachts. I've been on yachts. Shad Khan has a yacht. That's not what you guys have. Then when you this line ass Cuban, what's his name, Ruiz comes in, and you guys are going to just skip city planning. Like, it takes years to build high schools. Like, they have to zoning, all this. We got money. We're going to just make a high school disappear and move it. Then you're going to buy a city park that's not for sale. Like, you just let guys lie to you, and you get super excited, and you believe everything. And you believe that you hired Kevin Steele, and I want to say this respectfully. This was 2007. I would be super excited to have Kevin Steele as my defensive coordinator. The problem is, it's 2022, so it's like you got Kevin Steele, and he's actually not bad playing. He's not performing bad. You get Gaddis, who was the reigning guy of the year, but got walked out, assistant coach of the year, but was let go. It's like you get these things, and you're saying how you should be competing for the ACC. Josh Pate gets on here and lies and says, you guys are the best. 247 has you a pinned tweet of a commitment. You have all this momentum to crap the bed. You legitimately should be a 2-win team, and you know that. But every day you still wake up and you have a commitment to go talk trash on social media as if you guys are the badasses. You were going to beat Bama, and I told you, as a guy who made that statement, you don't want that Bama smoke. You're not ready for that. You said you're going to beat Texas A&M. You played what I thought was the worst football game I ever saw until I watched a little bit of the Virginia-Miami game. You got Steven Garcia. Is that Steven Garcia, right?
Jay Garcia, my
bad. Jay Garcia, who was you got a top quarterback, and you somehow have managed to make it look like he can't throw the forward pass unless it's to the other team. You've got top offensive linemen. You've got a good recruiting class, but I always ask, when has Miami not recruited well? You've got talent. You just have bad coaching, and it's all because you're chasing the ghost of cocaine past. It's not the 80s. Let it go, and just, I don't understand, but I do envy the energy that Miami fans have and the confidence and the swag, because it's definitely unmerited.
And let's give Mario a little bit of credit. I've known Mario personally from his time at FIU. He's a very good guy. I think he can lead Miami back to success. I think he's dealing with a certain level of Manny did not leave that program the way it should. Manny basically left that program in shambles.
That's a bit extreme. The roster's not bad. He recruited pretty well. No, he was not up to the task. He's
Correct.
not a
Correct.
Power 5 coach.
Correct. But I will
Hopefully.
I want to ask this question to Logan before Logan sells why you should hit the like button real quick. If you want to sell it first, that's fine. Go ahead. But I guess my question to you, Logan, is along those lines. We know what this game is. We know what this game means. We know what this rivalry means. You grew up a Florida State fan. Your parents went to Florida State. You're a graduate of Florida State. My parents went to Florida State. I'm a graduate of Florida State. James is a graduate of Florida State. We know what this rivalry means. James knows more than you and I combine what this rivalry means. Does it concern you at this point? Hold on, real quick. Matt Cruz, let me address this real quick. Clowning Mario is laughable. Mario is an average coach with a top 5 roster and overwhelm teams and get W's. Then how did you get blown out by Duke and Middle Tennessee State? Got it. Answer that question, Matt, and then we'll put your incorrect answer later on. But my question to you, Logan, how concerned are you about the chance that Florida State could get upset by Miami this week?
Why are you putting these? You always ask me the ones where I want to say, you lead me into these ones that I have to be the one that gets me in trouble with the Miami crowd over here.
I want to watch the world burn. I want to see this happen.
Yeah, you want to see me get eaten alive here in the comments.
Well, you know that Cam and I are going to go 12 rounds.
Well,
you know Cam and I are going to go 12 rounds.
Jason, those are the questions we should ask you. Those are your kind of questions. Logan wants to break down personnel. He wants to talk about,
I think,
who could. That's what he wants to talk about.
That's right.
Logan,
who weighs the most?
Logan, sell the like button, and I'll answer the question.
All right. Hit the like button. 6:31. We're 1 minute behind schedule here, but hit the like button. Florida State. If you do that, let's see here. Maybe Tyler Van Dyke will do one of his spikes again. So if you're a Florida State fan, I know there's a lot of Miami fans on here, so they probably won't hit the like button. But if you're an FSU fan, you definitely were a fan of what happened last year. So if you'd like to see it happen again, hit the like button. Definitely appreciate it. Get some more fans in here. And even if it gets some more Miami fans in here, that's what it's all about. Rivalry game. I love it. It's one of my favorite rivalries in college football alone. Definitely for Florida State. It's a lot more heat to it than anything. So
Matt Cruz, thank you for your
smack that like button.
Contribution. We appreciate your $4.99, Matt Cruz. To answer your question, I'm petrified. I am legitimately petrified right now of the idea that we could lose to a bad Miami team. I think we are a better team, 100%. But I also think coming into their house, it just scares me. I don't like being a 7-point favorite. We'll get later. I think it's going to be one of those typical close Miami Florida State games that I think the winning team is going to have to fight tooth and nail to the end. But yes, the thought of Miami beating us, I think, is a legitimate thought, and it's petrifying. Your turn, Logan. Now you have to answer.
Now I have to answer. I've seen a lot of answers from Florida State this year. They've been a good, like we just talked about, Boston College, Georgia Tech, Florida State's taking care of business against teams that aren't good. Like I said, I'm super stoked to have and see Mike Norvell down there on the field. It was pretty crappy to see what happened in 2020 when he wasn't able to be there. Really just such a weird situation overall. And, Mike held back a few things that he wanted to say, but I've kind of had my prediction in mind for a couple weeks now, and I've seen what I need to see from Florida State. The practices, the competition was some of the best I've seen in a while at these practices this week. And Jordan Travis was lighting it up on Tuesday. I'm thinking about Syracuse. I'm sorry. I'm not even.
Don't do it, Logan. Don't, Logan.
Ooh,
It is. I'm thinking about Syracuse.
I also
It's a better team. It's a better team.
I also
Better
want
team.
Falcon RX, thank you for your contribution. You're 100%. Throw all the records out of this game. I also would like
And
to
usually I'm not like that. Usually I'm not ever like that. But this has been the most relaxed week of preparing for our show predictions. I already got the number in mind. It feels good. Nice and relaxed week of a rivalry.
While you and I were babbling on and on, James has been laughing his butt off over in the bottom.
He's probably seen the comments.
What's going on over there, James?
It's just like you ever say something and then you're hoping somebody proves you wrong for who they are, and then they just continue to prove you right. It's the comments are great. It's like, dude, you lost even the comment. I saw somebody post, you lost to Jacksonville State. You got to shut up. And I'm like, well, you lost to the team that lost to Jacksonville State. So what does that make you? Like, Middle Tennessee State is probably going to get their coach fired this year. And they dominated you. Your quarterback at one point was my bad, excuse me. He was 0 for 4 for 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Technically, it was 2 for 4 if you think about it. And the touchdowns came from, the pick sixes that he threw. Like, there's nothing tangible. Like, here's what I want. And if Cam's listening, have no problem. I love intelligent debate. Outside of, like, bravado, right? And in the comments, please feel free. Because if you're really that strong, because this is what I do. I like to bet, right? But I bet for real.
Oh, God.
I don't bet for money. Because I don't think most of you have it because you like Miami, but you didn't go to the university. So I know you're not, and I saw you guys post your little cars and shit after our guy posted his niece. Sorry, Mark. Your little cars and stuff. But, like, we know you're leasing them and you don't own them and you're living check to check. Like, we can talk offline, and I want to know what your fears are because I want you to face them after you lose. That's what brings me joy. But if you can give me something tangible that really makes you feel like we do this better, right? Because I'll be honest with you, like, outside of just saying, like, we're going to win, like, if we're not better than somebody, I'm not going to just make it up. Like, you don't do anything better than anybody else on your schedule. Like, you don't tie your shoes. You don't have a better stadium. You don't have better uniforms. You don't run the ball. You don't throw the ball. You don't catch the ball. There's nothing that you do that you can say outside of just little jarbs. And the reality is, when you're getting your behind whooped in a fight, which a lot of you probably have experienced, when you're getting whooped, the jobs don't work when you're getting punched in your throat. When you're getting bullied, it doesn't work. So if you have something of substance, I would love to know, because I may have missed it on film. But when I watched your freshman quarterback, both of them, one who looks like he might be blind, and Ja'Carry Brown, I looked at Garcia. BBD, it's cool he has a really nice car, but he probably should be on Miami Metro Rail, like the way he's playing. And I'm talking about he's paying for it. You don't even give him a car. You don't even give him a card. But again, we know you're going to come in here with the bravado, little brother, 5 rings, which I'm be honest with you, for 4 of those rings, I was in diapers. So it's at a certain point, it becomes old civil rights songs. Because that's about around the time where you're at. Like, what in the present day have you done besides your recruiting class? You are recruiting at a better level than us right now. But Manny could have done better than this, in my opinion. Mario might be better for you in the long run, but again, there's nothing tangible that you have. And that's all I want to know is, like, what tangible thing do you have? And if you're willing to bet, at Big Game James _36, tell me what you're willing to give. And I'm probably more than willing to match it, but I want it. And I'll be down in Miami. Don't make me find you. Let's just be honest, because when it comes down to it, a lot of it's just bravado.
Falcon RX is talking about how he's stacking money, but he's only giving us $3.05. I mean, come on, man. Seriously?
I think it's the 3 do 300. It was 305, 305.
That's what I'm saying.
Bless my guy, Mark.
So, real quick, let's get to the most important point before Cam signs on here. Both of you will be down here this weekend. What are our plans? What are James Coleman?
No, and Jason, it goes back to my point. It's not worth for a game that I don't think is going to be as close. Logan. So we said no. We were thinking about it, but I saw the Virginia game and no. We got. There's a bigger game. Bucks Rams will be down there Sunday in Tampa, but I was thinking about it this year. It was going to be in the plans, kind of, Jason, but nah. Too many good games on Saturday, too, to watch. I just don't think it's going to be much of a fun one on Saturday.
Logan, evening. I had Latin women waiting for you. They were going to be there at your hotel just waiting
for you, my God. Hey, now. I might have picked up a little something.
I'm just saying right there. James, what are you going to be doing? How will you be celebrating what we hope and pray is a win this weekend?
At the Seminole Hard Rock Stadium, I will be tailgate hopping. I'll be hanging out in one of the suites, and just enjoying the game, man. Hopefully, seeing the entertaining ball game. But I am with Logan. There are a lot of stuff. If it wasn't in Miami, actually, no, I'll be in Thailand. I'm really going to Miami. That's really just it's an excuse for me to go to the city of Miami as a business expense. So I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna enjoy some stuff on Sunday. I really wish I could do like the guy did a couple weeks ago, where for $3 you could check out the Miami Hurricane game on Saturday, and then for real people ticket prices you can check out the Dolphins play. Because I would like to see Tua now that he's come to. He doesn't have concussions, so I would like to see real quarterback play. But I want to go watch the game, and then I'll be flying back sometime on Monday. But I'll be enjoying my time down in the 305.
Mark, can you go to RQ's comment here about Tyler Van Dyke when you get a minute, if there's any time?
Absolutely. Just want to honor Falcon Rex. Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much for all the super chats. The latest being the graduate of the U 1993. B Art stacking money. Appreciate that.
And yet giving us $3. Got it. Okay.
Well, Falcon Rex has certainly provided a lot more than that through the years. Believe me, he's all over the place on the Miami channel. So Falcon Rex, thank you. It does come in 305 increments, but hey, thank you for that. We've got more, and we'll get to Logan's comment that he wants to get to. James, thank you so much for your contribution. Chances MC has better record than that WT321. Oh, yeah. Willie Taggart versus Mario Cristobal, who's sitting at 4-4.
Well, there's a chance he could be 5-7 this season, like Willie was in his first year in 2018. So there's a possibility there. So then he'd only have to be 4-5 before he gets fired. Then he gets a nice buyout, and then he can go coach FAU once Willie gets fired from FAU.
Look at that.
There we go. There we go. Where's RQ's comment? I need to see this comment because
you would love it, Jason.
I'll find it.
You would love it. It's about Tyler Van Dyke and Jordan Travis. You would love it, Jason. I'd love to see your reaction and see James's face.
There it is.
Okay, first of all, no, here's the thing. Logan, you got to be honest for a second. You have a man who legitimately has a old Miami Marlins logo as his emoji. If you literally have an old, you can't take this seriously. This is a Special Olympics guy.
You got to be trolling.
Yeah, special.
Got to be trolling. Kid. Oh, this is perfect timing. This is perfect timing.
Yeah, this is a perfect time.
This is perfect time.
I said tangible, right? Maybe my fault. That's on me. Hold on. That's on me.
Guys,
because I used the word like Dion used the word. He tried to he used the word the other day that he didn't really understand. He tried to say Freudian slip, but he said fraudulent slip, which was a Freudian slip in that the fact that he used a fraudulent. Tangible means clear and definite, like something that we can measure, like like statistics. Statistically speaking, we can measure this. Like we can
look at things.
Last year, BBD was way better than Jordan Travis. This year, like I don't, unless there's some metric that I missed. I'm sorry, I apologize. I just wanted to make it clear what I meant when I said tangible.
Let's welcome our friend. We're in a safe place here. Let's let Mark introduce our friend Cam.
It's the guy that makes Wednesday nights and our Miami channel overall what it is. Mr. Cam Underwood from State of the U on SB Nation. If you're not familiar, you should get familiar. Cam does a tremendous job. Again, the storytelling, the facts, the information, the recruiting prowess, everything that he knows is phenomenal. And we get it on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Miami channel. Cam, great to see you.
Well, greetings and salutations. I hear that you guys were, talking some stuff, clearly, in James fashion, hey, but do what you do, fam. Like, hey, you're authentic to you, fam. Like, I get it. Like, hey, but yeah, good to be here, man.
Cam, I have two important questions for you. First question: have you got?
Bro, why are you still? Weren't you supposed to leave at halftime, bro? Like, what are you doing here?
So basically, what happened was when they were losing to Duke at halftime, I said I was leaving, but then I said to hell with it.
No, he said this. No, he said this before the game. He said, "Look, if it looks like it's going sideways, I'm leaving at halftime." And he comes up by me in the third quarter. I was like, "Yo!"
Because I came up by you, Miami was up 21-17. So I thought, there you go. There you go. So have you started the petition to get me banned before this week? Because if not, I'll be there.
No, the outcome is so. Your impact on the outcome is inconsequential. Like our deficiencies are more the thing we need to put a ban on, but I'm not sure that we'll be able to do that.
So quick question for you, and off the top, sorry. At the start in the preseason, Miami was the preseason pick to win the ACC Coastal Division. But this was supposed to be Mario Cristobal was supposed to come in and turn it around. What we have seen is definitely not that. Miami coming into this game 4-4 at this rate. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be political here with you on this one.
I mean, hey, facts are facts. Like, talk your stuff.
What has been to you, as somebody who covers this team, a graduate of the school, whatnot, what has been the biggest issue or the reason for Miami's difficulties through the first 2 months of the season?
Offensive line. That was the thing that Cristobal is a two-time national championship player along the offensive line for Miami. Brought in his best friend, Alex Mirabal, to coach the offensive line. Obviously, he's going to be there. Like Cristobal works with the offensive line as well because, like, he's coached offensive line. Like, he coached at Alabama. He's coached, like, even when he was at FIU, like, he was heavily involved in that. And that was, I know that they had Jonathan Cyprian and they had T.Y. Hilton and everything, but the way that they played along the lines is really what helped FIU take a step forward. And it is very abundantly clear that Miami is deficient in talent, deficient in player development over the course of years. And I would say like a couple mango seasons of offensive line recruiting and development from being where they need to be. Now, there was a video put up on Twitter of somebody from Oregon's game last week and saying, man, Bo Nix had 8 seconds to throw the ball. He said it looked like a 7-on-7 out there. I said, well, those are the players left recruited and developed by Cristobal and Mirabal. And so if you're looking, and it's a singular play as the microcosm, right, as the seed of what can grow into being, the tree of offensive line performance here in Miami. But it's been really bad. You're basically down 3 starters. Zion Nelson's played a handful of snaps all year. He's supposed to be your starting left tackle, a potential, top 2-round pick. He's played like a handful of snaps across 2 games. He's probably not going to play the rest of this year. Mario Cristobal keeps saying that he has setbacks and things, and he's not where we need to be. Look, buddy, like we're coming into game 9, and the last time we saw him was game 4 or 5. I think it was 4. Yeah, because he didn't play after the bye week. So like, shut him down, but that's a guy who's missing. Then you have John Campbell who stepped in, and he's been fairly decent at left tackle, but that should be your right tackle. Then you have DJ Scaife playing right tackle, who is 100% miscast at tackle. He should be a guard. Jalen Rivers, left guard, was our best offensive lineman last year. He's come back off of a knee injury. Cool. All right, great. Ja'Kai Clark, he got injured. He's been rotating with Jonathan Dennis. Cool. And then you're just playing anybody at right guard. Justice Oluwaseun had experience, but no. Like, and people always say that I hate players when I'm being critical, but his performance was that of a turnstile. And then he got injured and he's out for the year. But then now you're going to be like, okay, cool. We're going to rotate true freshmen, whether that's Inez Cooper, who I think can be really, really good. Like one of the biggest steals in Miami's recruiting class last year, but he's a true freshman. Then you go Maurice Seymour, Big Baby Seymour. And I'm like, he's smaller, lighter. He is weaker and has a shorter wingspan than Inez Cooper. So Inez Cooper has been hit or miss, and then you bring a guy in who across the board is not as good as Inez Cooper. And then they're like, cool, we're going back to 73. Boom, we're going to put that in there. But when you consider your right guard, your right tackle is playing left tackle, and then your right guard is playing right tackle, you're still at this point of the season down at least 3 starters on the offensive line from where this optimal group for this year would be. Even though it wouldn't be great, it would be better. And that is really, really the thing. That and the same other thing that I've been saying for years. improved athleticism at linebacker. Why we got guys who look like me running out there, and I'm 41 years old and a little bit overweight, and I'm not nearly as fleet of foot as I used to be in my 20s. But if you got linebackers running current day cam speed, that's not good. And we continue to have that. So I would say those are the two things that have been real issues.
Last week, obviously, Miami did get back to 500 with a hard fought,
scintillating.
Technically, you technically won the game by scoring on a 2-point conversion in the fourth.
No, it's not technically. We actually physically, tangibly, to use the Big James word before, go look at the stats.
You won. You got the win. You're up to 500 on the season.
14 is more than 12.
I know. 14 is more than 12. So I guess, obviously, my question to you, Jake Garcia got the start. Tyler Van Dyke got hurt in the second half of the Duke game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Jake Garcia after seeing him start against Virginia? Do you feel confident after seeing him against Virginia? Do you feel confident if he were to start this Florida State game? Or do you think Tyler Van Dyke is going to be healthy enough to get the start against FSU?
Mario is notoriously unclear when being directly asked about injuries. So I say that to say that I don't trust what he's been saying about, oh, Tyler's been practicing and like, I'll believe that 9 is going to play when I see it because I was there. You were there against Duke. And the way that he got hurt and was like completely immobile and everything, that looked more than a 2-week injury to me. So I don't love that. Just from the perspective of Tyler playing. I think that, to be perfectly honest, to have a real fighting chance in this game, I think that Tyler does need to play. I think that Jake Garcia is very talented. I think that he's going to continue to be a little feast or famine. He can hit throws every now and then, but he's not going to be as consistent. Even when Tyler's missing, he's missing close to the strike zone, like in a baseball analogy. He's not missing all the way in the other batter's box. You know what I mean? And we've seen that from Jake Garcia, where it's like, okay, well, he's throwing a 7 and, a flag route to the corner, right? And the receiver's running a 9, and then the Duke defender is just like, or the Carolina defender, I'll take that. Cool. Like, you threw it straight to me. You know what I mean? And so, like, those things are the things that are going to continue to pop up. But, I mean, he can hit that inside slot fade that he threw to Colby Young that went for a touchdown. He can step up and, fit a crossing route or a square in there. But there's still just a little bit of polishing, finishing. He's, that piece of woodworking from woodworking class when it's just like, I need that real fine sandpaper to round that edge that's a little bit too sharp and jagged from where I cut it. That's still Jake Garcia. So, I mean, look, he's the highest rated quarterback that Miami signed to this point since Kyle Wright in 2003. Now, I'm not saying that to compare Jake Garcia to Kyle Wright, but Kyle Wright was like number 4 overall in the country. And then we had nowhere near that talented be signed at quarterback until Tyler Van Dyke. And then you supersede that with Jake Garcia's recruiting profile coming in. So he's a very talented guy. He can move in the pocket a little bit better just because he's more athletic, even though, he's 2 inches shorter than Tyler Van Dyke, but that's okay. You can call his number in the run game a little bit more. They actually had him keep it on that game-winning 2-point conversion. Now, I believe he should have just to Khalil Brantley, who was doing yeoman's work on split zone coming across the formation for those crackback blocks all day long. But if, obviously Jay kept it, that ends up being basically a naked bootleg with a G lead or a Y lead block. You know what I mean? So he can move a little bit better and everything, but he's a little bit too feast or famine in the passing game. And I know that we kind of joked about Tyler Van Dyke getting locked in on one dude. There, on certain plays, you can tell, like, yeah, there is a progression structure, but okay, 3rd and 12, set hut. Nope. Okay, well, I looked over there. He wasn't open. Well, maybe somebody else was open. Nah, but I was supposed to throw I'm looking at X, or I'm looking at Brashard, or I'm looking at whoever the one guy is, the him of that him ball play. That's who he's looking at. And that's what I think he still needs more game reps to develop. But, I mean, he's a solid player. I think he's going to take steps forward, but I just think he needs maybe another mango season to be able to step into this game and win.
Cam, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're messing this up, dog. You're killing me right now, man. You're talking. You are No, I'm saying no. You're actually like really speaking level headed, and like it's not representing your fan base the way I've expected. But it's really, I am intrigued. Like the things that you're saying
You want me
are.
to flip it? Because I can flip it. I can go there.
No, listen.
Let me know.
I like good discourse. Like this makes sense. I'm like you're actually doing the opposite. You're starting to scare me to make me actually believe that this is going to be the game. But all jokes aside, Kevin Steele coming to the defense, and you talked about the linebackers, but there are some bright spots. You want to? Oh, yeah. What are your thoughts? And I saw him kind of get back into it with the media a little bit.
That was funny.
Which it reminded me of playing for Kevin, like I was like, wow, that sounded like brought me back to college. But what is the defense like, and from what you've seen and experienced, and who are some of the brighter spots on that defense?
It's going to be multiple, just because offenses are going to be multiple. We're really going to just try to get pressure with 4. Every now and then we might bring a backer or a safety, particularly when you see guys like Corey Flagg is good at anything wherever his feet start on that play, even with where his feet start or going forward, he's wonderful at. If you got to flip his hips and you got to no. But if wherever he starts a play, so he can come on a delayed blitz. He's been really good at that, making knifing through in the run game, delayed blitzes for sacks and things like that. Really good in that. I don't love him in coverage. I don't love him in space. But hey, plus positives and negatives for everybody. But yeah, the defense is really predicated on the defensive line, just beating their man up front. Akeem Mesidor twice this year has been ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week. Leonard Taylor is your reigning ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week, and he's really taken a step forward recently. He, Cristobal and both Taylor himself said they had a meeting. It was Taylor, his mama, and the coaches. And because he flashed, that 5-star talent and everything. And they were like, yo, if you're trying to really be about this is what you need to do from your preparation, from your practice, from your nutrition, from your extra weight, like all of this. If you're trying to be the number 3 overall player in America, the number 1 defensive tackle, the guy who flashes if you want to be that dude all the time, because like you're a guy and he could probably, keep the same progression and go to the NFL and be a guy. But if you want to be the guy, this is what you do. And he's really taking that to heart. He's gained, he said, 10 pounds in the last month from really taking his nutrition seriously. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. He stopped all that Popeyes and everything, treated his body like an elite athlete, really, doing the extra work just across the board. And he's really stepped up his game. So he's great inside. Daryl Jackson Jr. transfer from Tennessee coming down. He's been amazing inside as well. Jared Harrison Hunt rotating in there. And then Mitchell Agood, transfer from UCLA. I would say those 4 leading the 4 plus Harrison Hunt leading the defensive line. What?
Who the hell would stop eating Popeyes? That sounds like a criminal offense.
Well, I mean, like it's because of the lack of nutritious value. You know what I mean? Like you got to hit your macros, and if you're trying to gain the weight and everything, you got to turn some of that jiggly fat into some, lean muscle, or like it's just all kinds of that, stuff. But yeah, he's really been doing that work, and it's been showing up on the field. So I say all of that to say that the defense is predicated on those 4 guys up front winning. And that's in the run game, that's in the pass game. Now, the linebackers, Corey Flagg, if it's a run play, great. You've had lots of injuries. Wesley Basaint, I think, is going to be that guy, but he got injured. So then now you're playing 2 middle linebackers because Caleb Johnson from UCLA, he slides over and he plays the will next to, Corey Flagg is the Mike, and things like that. So that's been an area where it's been getting a little bit better, but still needs to be where it needs to be. Defensively in the backfield, the defensive backfield, Cam Kinchins leads the way, center field. James Williams, he can play center field, but he also will creep down towards the line. I know that he hates it when people say this, but like that second level is where his body is going to take him. 6'5", 235 already before. I mean, he's a cheeseburger away from 240, guys. So, I mean, now he's not really imposingly physical. He still likes to just nudge with the shoulder as opposed to wrapping and driving through. But he still flashes elite play. It's just in a variety of different areas. You see a lot of 3rd down packages that have Williams down in the box, Kinchins over top, and then Avante Williams also at safety. Tyreek Stevenson has been the best cover corner on this team. He's going to I would like to see him shadow Johnny Wilson on Saturday, just because DJ Ivey has played better throughout some of this season, but when it's really bad with DJ Ivey, it's terrible. I mean, that's still, like the 98-yard touchdown given up to Middle Tennessee State, that's on his head. The fake punt touchdown to Georgia Tech last year, that's on his head. Things like that. So there have been coverage breakdowns, and this is where and this will obviously happen in Miami, Florida State, where you've shown something and then you show the wrinkle. You remember that time that Cam Newton called out an audible and Luke Kuechly or whoever it was like, oh, this is this. He's like, oh, you watch film. Okay, now watch this. And then they went to the Texas route instead of the angle route with the running back. Those things in the passing game will be touchdowns. And we've seen that. So if you have, because Miami's defenders, particularly James Williams, DJ Ivey, and Cam Kinchins, because it's happened all three this season, when they think they know what's coming, they're going to go cheat and be like, oh, I'm going to make a hero play. And all of a sudden there's a guy 20 yards behind him and the opposing team is celebrating on the other sideline. And we've seen that in multiple games. So that's a thing that concerns me in the passing game. But to the point of, Kevin Steele kind of pushing back on whoever asked that question on Monday about the explosive passing plays, there have been fewer since the 27 million that we gave up to Middle Tennessee State. Now, there were 3 explosives of 30 yards or more against Virginia Tech, but none of those scored. There were a couple that were overthrown. There was one against Virginia Tech. Sorry, that was Virginia. Virginia Tech had 2 wide open, and Virginia Tech is just the worst team in captivity, so they missed those. But those would have been touchdowns if they would have hit those. So and that's where I push back on what Kevin Steele said about, well, like if you look at explosives in the program and all that stuff, if you look at the near misses, like those fastballs down the middle that instead of hitting for a home run, you foul it straight back, but you're right on the fastball. There were 2 other in Virginia. There were 3 in Virginia Tech. You can see where the coverage breakdowns still exist, and that's something that concerns me.
Hurricane Central, thank you for your $4.99 contribution. Your stupid pick. I'm sorry, Mark. Can you go back to this man's prediction? This is the tangible fan base that James was talking about.
Trailer Hassett.
This is the tangible. I
need a T-shirt. I need a Trailer Hassett.
It's Tallahassee number 1.
I need a shirt like that.
Well,
that'd be incredible.
You're talking about this prediction, Canes by 1 million, right?
No, well, he predicted Canes 55, Seminoles nothing. I mean,
somewhere between 55 and 1 million.
I get the loyalty factor, but come on, not even Cam is going to make that prediction.
55-0. You heard it.
You
saw it. He said it with his chest. He ain't stutter.
He said
they don't teach you how to read at Florida State. Look at the numbers.
He put Mario Cristobal's head on Tony Montana's body. Let's calm down here real quick.
Well, I mean, he did. It was done.
I just don't understand. Like, Mario is a nice guy. Like, he's not Scarface. He is Cuban, but he's not. He's just not like he's. What is the fascination with creating multimillionaire football coaches into goons? Like it's only Miami that does this.
Hey, well, it's only Miami that does a lot of things, but it's a you thing, baby. You wouldn't understand. That's all right.
Fair.
That's all right. I mean, that's all right. That's why we got 5 of them things and y'all don't. That's all right.
No.
Were you alive?
Did I lie?
I don't think I was alive.
Man. You know what? Tangible stuff. Fair. That's tangible. Harvard has more national championships. If we're dating it back, we're going back to people. Harvard doesn't brag about these things. Yale doesn't brag about these things.
Right.
They have more. They have more national championships.
But they could. So the fact that they don't have
they do.
The self-confidence. No. Wait. No, the fact that they don't have the self-confidence to brag, to focus on the tangible numbers and bring those to the forefront. That's something that's derelict within their spirit. That doesn't have nothing to do with me.
Ooh, I like the SAT words. I just don't think if you're bragging about something that happened 40 years ago, it's just not. It doesn't have the same impact.
Same.
I mean, but it happened. Can never take it from you, though. That is the truth. I just don't remember it. And I don't have a VHS player to play. Actually, excuse me. I don't have a Betamax to play it. So, but it has happened. But
I wasn't asked Cam before I have to get out of here. But Cam, what matchups are you looking forward to? I've got a lot of them. I think this game's going to come down to the trenches. You were talking about Miami's offensive line earlier. Florida State is going to bring back Fabian Lovett for the second game in a row. You've got Jared Verse coming in, and Florida State was able to dominate there last season inside Doak Campbell Stadium on the defensive side, and definitely in the trenches and creating pressure on TVD. It caused
You had an
problems.
advantage. I don't know about dominate, but you definitely did have the advantage and did win.
Jermaine Johnson? Did Jermaine Johnson disappear?
And I'm going to give credit where credit's due, because of course, I'm not saying that it wasn't that, but
there's just a younger version of Jermaine Johnson and Jared Versus on the field. But I'm just looking forward to some of these matchups. What are you looking forward to the most?
Very good player. Definitely, slots. That's the current formula with Mike Norvell. Obviously, like, okay, we got Jermaine Johnson, and then we're gonna slide in Jared Verse to basically be that same guy, just with a different name. And that's really smart, because obviously you can see how Verse is playing. So what he does, him singularly, will impact everybody else. I already waxed poetic about the deficiencies on Miami's offensive line, and that concerns me, because we don't have the biggest running backs in the world right now. And we're not playing Thad Franklin, who's been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks, just standing on the sideline holding a helmet. Cool. But Henry Parrish is like 5'10", 190. And I've seen him singled up with edge rushers. I've seen him barely kind of chip. And I'm like, DJ Scaife, whichever side you put him on, DJ Scaife or John Campbell, they're going to need help. So, none of our tight ends are really great blockers. Khalil Brantley did a great job kind of in a moving block kind of a way on split zone, but like, you're going to need to find a way to help out wherever Jared Verse is. And that's something that does concern me. And on the other side of the ball, it's tackling at the second level area of the field, whether that is a linebacker or defensive back, particularly in the run game, because you guys as running backs are very adept at, even if they get slowed down, their feet don't stop and they kind of just twist and turn and work their way forward. And if they can get both feet out of a tackle, gone. And Miami is better at tackling than we were last year, which is what the growth we needed to see. But if that's not an elite performance at that level against those guys, I think it's going to be a real negative situation for Miami. So, and then just being able not to have, sorry, let me get these words correct. Let me try that again. Finding a way to not let Jordan Travis just destroy you with his legs. Because he's going to throw the ball, and he's gotten better over 4 years. Cool, good for him. But the thing is, on a broken play, and he's able to go, and you're playing man because, okay, look, we got to devote those resources to these receivers. We're not able to cover them. We got to, and he gets past the pass rush, and Miami has had a tendency a little bit to over rush athletic quarterbacks. So once you get past the level of them on the field, you get deeper than them. Now we can step up and we can find the lane, or that quarterback can find the lane. Finding a way to not have those be 10 and under, 12 and under, as opposed to 25s and 50s with Travis using his legs. Those are some of the things that I'm looking at to being determining factors.
Just to reverse it really quick, what do you think Miami has on FSU that they can, on their end, take advantage of Saturday night?
Number one has to be the defensive line. Defensive line has to win. They have to win, and it's pretty much every play. Been really great on tackles for loss. Been really great creating havoc in the backfield, whether that's passing plays or running plays. But as Miami's defensive line performs, so will the game go, I believe. And then on offense, honestly and truly, if Tyler's not playing, I don't see it. I really don't. I think that, and I would hope that Jake Garcia could prove me wrong. And I've been proven wrong a couple times this season with some of these things, but I just think this is a bridge too far for him at this point. And then that's going to eliminate or lessen the impact of the running game, because clearly forever the opposing paradigm of defenses, playing Miami is, we're going to crash to the run and we're going to make you beat us in the passing game. Nobody really gets separation, and the offensive line isn't good enough to give enough time for play after play after play this season that upon further review or even live during the game, you've seen that's a touchdown. That is a touchdown play. You're doing it was 2 games ago. We ran a post with a post wheel combo with Henry Parrish coming out of the backfield as the wheel, butt naked, wide open. The linebacker got stuck at 3 yards. He's nowhere near Henry Parrish. This is a wide open, I mean, like nobody else in the picture, touchdown. Tyler Van Dyke gets sacked before he even has a chance to step up and look at him to let that develop. And so I think the same thing is going to be the case with Jake Garcia, crashing to the run. Wide receivers don't get separation. Well-designed and well-timed plays, which have guys running free, are killed because it can be one person just missing their block on the defensive line, or the collective doesn't do their job. And I mean, I see what Gaddis wants to do, but I do not believe that we have the players to perform the duties to make that happen. But I would say, okay, if you have Tyler back there, you're going to put him in shotgun. It's kind of going to be like, I don't know, when y'all were beating us 6 years in a row and we had like Brad Kaya up there, and he threw for 7. Okay, cool. And it was, let me see, this is 22, so that it had to have been 15, I want to say. And he threw for like 400 yards and we ran for like 37. I think it would have to be something like that from Tyler, who has not 500, but 496 followed by 400, back-to-back games. He hasn't played since then, but I think it would need to be something like that for him. Just, look, I'm going to dot you up. I'm going to throw it 55 times. I'm going to try to hit Will Mallory, Xavier Restrepo, Colby Young stepping into the wide receiver 1 role on the outside. Keyshawn Smith, my guy from San Diego, finding a way to impact the game. We're going to do that and just rotate between those guys, flex in a little bit of Jaleel Skinner or something. That, I think, is the path to a positive performance for Miami. But again, I don't think Tyler's going to play. And if he doesn't play, I don't think that Jake Garcia is ready to have that same kind of performance in replacement.
I was going to ask, what's the percentage chance on your end of thinking that TVD will play legitimately
right now? 0. I do not believe Mario Cristobal. I don't. I really don't, because there's 6 players who are out for the year, and like, we'll see, and they're working through something, and oh, he has the ACL reconstructive knee brace on the day after, or sorry, not the day, because last time you hear about from Mario is on a Wednesday. So 4 days later, and this is Trevante Citizen, the running back. It's like, we'll see. And then he has, like the immobilization brace on as he's crutching on the sideline. Fam, you just said we're working through it day by day, and this man clearly is going to take 8 months to relearn how to walk. I'm supposed to believe you now all of a sudden that Tyler's going to play? I'll believe it when I see it.
Logan, give us your prediction before you go. Let's get Logan and give his prediction before he goes, because I want to rile up.
James is ready. James is ready to send it. Or should I say bar none, since that's what the chat is saying continuously. That's what they're calling. That's what they're saying you are, James. You might need to clarify with them.
I'm not bar none. He's way better than I was.
I just think it's hilarious they're in there. This one I had it last week, 31-17 in favor of Florida State. I just think too, like Cam's saying too, the offensive problem for Miami is going to come into effect in this one. Definitely, if Tyler Van Dyke's not playing, and like Cam said again, he's going to have to throw. And Florida State's cornerbacks, you can go after. We've seen it this year. I mean, I'm more relying on Renardo Green than anything. But other than that, Florida State, if they can find a rhythm on offense, they can run. If everything fails passing, if that were to happen, then you've got a running back room along with Jordan Travis that can use his wheels. So I got 31-17. I would love for it to be a good game. There's nothing better than the Florida State Miami rivalry, but we're on prime time. It'll be a good time.
Everybody's
But
gonna be
that's what I've
watching.
got. Everybody will be watching no matter what. Everybody.
And
will
Renardo
tune into
Green
that
is still
game.
in college. Golly.
He's still out there, man.
Okay.
CB1 now. Amarion Cooper's now put behind on the
He's-
depth chart. So
He's got his bachelor's degree, his MBA. He's now working on a second master's. He's phenomenal.
That's like
safeties, corner safety.
Stetson
now.
Bennett, who just turned what 25
Exactly.
last week.
Just to update everybody here, this is not 1978. There will be other games on television.
No,
there won't.
Options.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's talking about. Everybody's gonna be watching Miami, Florida State,
no one's
ABC
watching.
National.
No one's watching NBC or CBS. I say as an NBC employee, no one's watching that. It's clearly going to be ABC 7:30. Go.
I'm
worry
seeing a
about
few other options here. So
Logan, thank you for
I'll
joining
be-
us this week, buddy.
floating around.
Yeah, Mark will be doing his thing. All right, guys. I appreciate it. See you, Cam. See you, James.
Hey,
See you,
no problem.
Jason.
All right, but
Thanks, Logan. Appreciate it, man.
Everybody, have a great weekend. See you guys.
Yeah,
My-
yeah.
My
Kim-
question to you, Cam, is and I know Logan gave his prediction, but there was a report by one of your, I'm not gonna give them pub because they're not here, but a fellow site where they talked about what's Rooster's real name? Jalen Knighton. But they talked about Jalen Knighton, and then there was obviously an exchange on Twitter with I guess one of the players' moms on offense. Losing doesn't feel good, obviously, and people get frustrated. But what is the climate in the locker room like? Is that just something where just things leaked out, people just spoke in out of passion, or is it some guys that? Because the other part of it is new staff didn't get a chance to move everybody out like they wanted to, sees what they got, and maybe looking to move it out. So is there a little bit of both, or is there some discontent, or is it really just a thing where people are just making more of it than what it really is?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. Like, obviously, losing is not great. And then you have guys who have played medium to large roles here in the past, and they're still here on the roster, and they barely find rotation snaps or barely find special team snaps. So, I mean, just with any kind of turnover and change, you're going to have a little bit of discontent because, somebody, they got their zitch taken, you know what I mean? Or their whatever. So there, I mean, I think that there is that. I think that, Knighton was a little bit of frustration when he spoke, because that person who tweeted that, they're very close with a lot of the players. Like, they do a lot of grassroots stuff. They go to a lot of the high school games. They're known around here in South Florida. So, like, I've been talking to, Buddy for years. So, like, if he hits me up or asks me something, like, I might be more comfortable than like a journalist behind a microphone. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen Buddy at Traz, I've seen him at Deerfield, I've seen him at wherever. So, but oh yeah, Buddy, like you're always around. So you might be a little bit more unreserved as opposed to like an immediate availability. And I think that the passion of the game just got to him. Just like Jalen Knighton's, scored lots of touchdowns. He has, kinds of all-purpose yards in college and everything. And, is one of 2 running backs ever in the history of Broward County ever to run for 5,000 yards in a high school career. The other one being the late, great Tyrone Moss at Ely. So incredibly productive. He was always the best player on the field, but now he's not playing, but he didn't fumble 3 times in the previous 4 games before being a healthy scratch. So, like, you keep putting it on the ground, we can't play you. And I think that like a little bit of the frustration in the moment of that came out. But yeah, I mean, there's already been guys who've left the roster. And it will not surprise me if there are more in the offseason as Mario continues to reshape this roster in his own way. But, I think that there's still positivity. And I think that Mario's maybe been more clear inside the walls of the locker room than he's been in public to us. And I said this on the show with Mark last week, this is not a surface level refresh, right? This is not countertops and repainting the faces of your cabinets in the kitchen. This is not even a gut renovation where we tear it all down to the studs. This is a tear down in Mario Cristobal's eyes from what has been seen, right? He really, like, we're going to tear this all the way down to the ground and rebuild it. And some people are part of that and some people are not. But being more open and honest about that, I think, kind of sets the expectation, regardless of, recruiting rankings or, guys' talent level coming into college and everything, whatever you want to call that, whoever was chasing them. It clearly has not gone that way for a lot of people here in the last few years. So, yeah.
Cam, one quick question before I go, and putting our fandom aside for a moment, and somebody who covers this team. I think Miami has the talent that when they play their best, they can win 3 of the 4 games in the month of November. I think Clemson's just a much better team than anyone right now, but I think Miami talent-wise can compete. What's that?
I don't. Not as long as they play DJ Uyunglele. I honestly and truly don't.
Okay.
He ain't got it. He ain't got it.
All right.
I don't think them as a program are, and that's what a little bit of the frustrating thing is, because this is clearly a year to get them, and they've been very, very, very lucky. I don't think that they're those guys at all, and especially with Dabo's refusal to go away from a guy who has shown us who he is, and they're asking him only to do 4 things, right? But you could even see in the game that he got benched, that offense is different with Cade Klubnik. And I know that it has a low number of snaps of him throwing the ball and things like that, to extrapolate that out forward. But like the minute that he crossed the sideline with a helmet on, you're like, oh, this is what they could be doing. But they choose to ride with a guy who's not that guy.
Well, let's just say, for example, Miami right now, talent-wise, should win at least 3 games in the month of November. Talent to play with Florida State, talent to play with I think they beat Georgia Tech easily next week, and the talent to play with Pitt in the season finale.
Okay.
On the same side of that, from what we've seen from Miami so far this season, is there a genuine concern right now that Miami could finish this year not being bowl eligible?
Absolutely, 100%. I said this last week with Mark. I said, it was with 5 games left. I said, we got 1 in a possible. 1 was Virginia. The possible is Georgia Tech. I don't think that Miami's beating Florida State, Clemson, or Pittsburgh. I didn't even think that would be in the realm of possibility. Now you're talking about, okay, yeah, you got to win, 2 now because you did get that 1, right? So now you need Georgia Tech and Florida State, Clemson, or Pittsburgh. So we got a possible on the to my eye. We got a possible. I'm talking about spades. Sorry. So you got, 1 game. I know, Jay. My bad. So I'm talking spades hands, but if you're looking at the games, Georgia Tech is not a certainty at all. When Jeff Collins was there, oh yeah, write that off. They fired him, and they look like almost like a league average, middle of the road ACC team. Miami is, fighting it out in the pillow fight bowl with Virginia at the bottom. I mean, that was the race for who's going to be last in the conference. That's not a certainty at all. So, yeah, to me, having to have 2 of the 4 still left, I think it's probable that Miami ends up without being eligible for a bowl rather than possible.
I'm not offended at all that you didn't assume I know how to play spades, but that's okay.
Are you going to play spades?
We'll play in the press box.
Joker, deuce, or you playing ace high? What are we playing?
Ace high. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, look, and see, James, that's why I asked, because somebody said they playing spades. I need to know right now, are we playing Chicago style? Or are we playing ace high? Because we playing Chicago, which is Joker, deuce. That's different strategically than if you play ace high. So we got to know now, because you put it out there as soon as you say you know how to play, because ain't going to be no fights, ain't going to be no other stuff, because we already set the lines of engagement.
Right. So one of the things that's important to me, because last time I went to a game, and this is why I'm not getting credentialed, is the press box food. Has the press box food gotten better?
No.
Or is it because when we played last time, it was a hot dog, some damn Lay's potato chips, and fountain soda.
The food did get better. The breakfast sandwich at the Duke game was not stuck to the paper like it was last season.
Yeah.
They put it in its own aluminum foil. So
I will say that at least, they were getting, because it was right in the middle of when they were doing the renovations to the press box before. So they just basically went to the concession and said, hey, give us a bunch of hot dogs, give us a They do have the catering food now, like from the suites, they like cater whatever. They've had a variety of things. It's not great, but it is actual catered food as opposed to just like concessions.
So the catered food isn't. So the suite I'm going to be in, that food is going to suck too.
No, it's good. It's better. It's better than what we'll be eating in the press box.
I think that they do. No, they do better in the suites, but it's like the same.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say,
You know what I
come on,
mean?
man.
Because because they give the sweets the like real super
top of the line stuff.
3-star culinary, and then for the
All
press
right.
box, like, all right, we're gonna bang this out.
Gotcha. All right, man. I gotta go be a dad, man. It was good seeing you, Cam.
All right, bro.
I'll see you down there, Jason. All right, Mark.
That's right. Go Canes, bro. Exactly.
No,
I see you. Go
Thanks,
Canes
man.
all day.
I'm leaving too, but I'm gonna give you my prediction.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hedge my bets here as somebody. Oh God, it just went orange.
There you go. We got to get your name in orange here.
Oh.
Yes.
Here, hold on.
that.
Give it a chance. Pull it up.
See it.
Pull it up, Mark. Go ahead. Because I want everyone at the station who's watching this right now to just take that picture and they'll screenshot it and put it all over my desk. That's literally what I'm going to see tomorrow.
I love it.
I don't. I think, and I'm not just saying this because Cam's here. I'm not just saying this because I covered this team. After what happened last season, I think anything's possible. Do I think Miami can come into this game and win this game? Yes, I do. Because I still don't think there was any reason we should have beat Miami last year. Don't get me wrong. I took the dub. I absolutely took the dub. But I understand how the heck did this happen theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's Florida State, Miami. Cam, you've seen the close games. You've seen the blowouts. We know what this series is capable of.
Right.
I'm going to say Florida State 28, Miami 24. I think Miami keeps it close. I think it's a competitive game. I think Florida State gets bowl eligible with this win, but I think it's a lot closer. The second the line came out at 7.5, I don't want any of that smoke. None.
Yeah, I don't.
No.
I mean, I'm curious as to where like y'all guys are saying, 17 points, 24 points for this Miami offense. Unless you're assuming Tyler Van Dyke is going to play. If Tyler Van Dyke plays, I think that could play.
Right.
That could be more of the thing, but. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, this is a thing where you do definitely, throw out the records. And I mean, yeah, like 2013, it was close for a quarter and a half. I mean, quarter and a half, like into halftime, and then like the wheels fell off. I mean, that's a national championship team, like, and Miami clearly wasn't. But absent that, and I don't think that the difference between our programs is as large as it's been in some other years in both ways. Again, for me, assuming that Tyler plays, I think that could work. But yeah.
All right, Cam. I'll see you Saturday.
All right, bro.
Thanks,
Mark,
Jason.
see you next week.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
All right,
you.
go Canes.
What?
All right, go Canes.
No.
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
Just be nice. Hope you have a safe drive to the game or something like that. You don't have to just spew that hate speech towards me.
Go Canes.
Oh, gross. Goodbye.
It's all about the you.
I love it. That's why I love this once a year.
Yeah, man.
It's fun. It's fun for me to just lay back and listen to it from both sides. So, Cam, appreciate you dropping by early tonight.
Hey, no worries.
That's sweet. It's good stuff. Love it. Man, you're emphatic about 0% chance that TVD plays.
I am. I don't think, unless he heals. Like Wolverine, man. Hello. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, unless he heals like Wolverine, I just don't see it. If it's I don't see it. I don't see it in 2 weeks. I just don't. And it's not even just that, but are you healthy enough to withstand being hit or tackled or at full speed? Because they're not playing full contact, full speed with quarterbacks in practice. They're just not. And yeah, I just don't believe it. Like what, even if it was a collarbone kind of a thing, if it's an AC joint, if it was, because he felt like it was right on that shoulder. Like that's my headphones. That's why I can't hear. But yeah, I just don't, I don't believe it. And if I'm proven wrong, then great, cool. Because I think that increases, gives Miami an actual chance to win with Tyler as opposed to Jake in this year at this time. But yeah, no, don't. So
to Marcus's question here,
oh boy,
how does this game affect? We can take that one way or the other. Affect recruiting like this game year to year to year to year, but this game in 2022.
Yeah. Now there is not a direct correlation between game results and recruiting. in the micro,
We
right?
saw that just in the last week.
Exactly. So like people will say sometimes like, oh, the Russell Athletic Bowl, that was the Mike Harley Bowl because he was in high school at the time and he was committed to West Virginia, and Miami finally offered this kid who wanted to come to Miami forever. So like, the joke was, oh yeah, whoever wins the game is going to get the player. Like, yeah, I mean, that's like a narrative from the outside, but like, I mean, that was really pretty much already set. But yeah, it's not necessarily a direct correlation, but it can show growth. It can show be part of, and like the experience and everything, and you can recruit in various ways too. So you can say, hey, we're awesome. You can do the Alabama pitch. We're amazing. Come here, join all the amazing players. Let us continue to be amazing together. Or you can do what Mario Cristobal is clearly doing. Hey, we're not there yet, and we need you to join us to help us get there. And you can see that has happened with Cormani McClain, because I sat here last week and was like, yep, there's zero chance that he's coming here. And on the Thursday evening, Cormani McClain, the number one defensive player in America in this class, the number 2 overall prospect in this class, did commit to Miami over local Florida. And Alabama, who just, if they're a finalist, they're always a threat. You know what I mean? But that was on the heels of losing to Duke. Sorry, was it Duke 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It was on the heels of losing to Duke with all them turnovers and everything the next week. But then Cormani says, hey, Miami moved to front 2 months ago. Decision was made before that game. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a direct thing there. Miami did flip a Oklahoma commit also last weekend, the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I forget his name. But he's from Virginia. He's like 6'3", 220-ish. Going to start at safety, but I think he can move down into the box. He's a big physical hitter. And I forget his name. Sorry. But in general, Miami, Florida State is always a massive recruiting event. It's going to happen in October or this year, November, right? The game. So you're going to get probably some official visits. You're going to get tons of unofficial visits because players from all over the state want to be there, right? And this is why this rivalry game is at the forefront of rivalry games across the sport, right? Because people want to be there. Now, you're going to get some guys who go on an unofficial visit to get a free ticket to be at the game who, it's going to be in Miami, obviously, right? Kids aren't coming to Miami. They're not considering Miami. They're Florida State, ride or die, Caleb Spencer, there goes. That's his name. The other guy who committed or flipped from Oklahoma last week. So you're going to have a packed recruiting session. You're probably going to have, I would say, 70 or more blue chip players between the 23, 24, 25 classes there, plus a bunch of other dudes and their teammates and, things like that. I mean, it's going to be packed. And if it were in Doak Campbell, it would be the same thing. This is just a spotlight game for both teams in terms of recruiting, right? So Florida State, sorry. Let me not do that. Florida State, even on the road, right? They're going to push their side of things, right? Hey, we're in this and da-da-da-da. If they lose, all right. But look, box office boys, primetime game, hey, and look, if you're from Miami, you're from South Florida, come play in Tallahassee. You're still going to be ACC Network, ABC, whatever. And you're going to come home at least twice, if not 3 times, depending on your longevity of your college career in Florida or at Florida State and the cycle of home and away. But you're going to come down here at least, if you're here for 3 years, at least once. Maybe twice. If you're there for 5 years, it could be as many as 3 times you're going to be playing in Miami, let alone if, by, game performance, they get an Orange Bowl appearance, right? So you're going to have that in Miami, obviously. Okay, we're hosting it here. You're going to play here every week. Like, this is, what it can be on an amazing day. Like, look at what happened. Now, I know you're going back in the rearview mirror, and probably Mark Cristobal's not going to be too closely tied to that, but like, hey, remember 2017 when Hard Rock Stadium for 2 weekends in a row got the ABC National 8 p.m. game and was a center of the college football universe? Hey, let's come and get that. But like you can do those, and it's always just, you're going to have more of a recruiting footprint with Miami, Florida State versus Miami, Duke, Miami, Wake Forest, Miami, one of these other random teams that you play. So whether it's here or there, it has increased importance. And if you're looking before the season, right, you're always saying, "Okay, look, these are the weeks that I would think to really bring people in. If you're trying to get, an official visit during the season, yeah, I would much rather bring in players for an official visit this week as opposed to, Pittsburgh on senior day or Duke 2 weeks ago. Why? No, Florida State is right there. You know what I mean? The Miami Florida State game. So yeah, I think this year is going to have an impact because Mario and the staff are going to be able to get FaceTime with all of the guys who are visiting, official or unofficial, this weekend. And it's probably going to be all unofficials, I believe. I don't think that anybody's taking an official this weekend, but including and led by Cormoney McClain, right? So you get FaceTime with them, even if they're like, "Oh, hey, I just want to go see it," or "I just want to be there for this game. I'm not really considering." Hey, man, you never know, right? So getting FaceTime with those guys is going to be impactful, and then, hopefully, and I know you're able to, connect with them after the game as well. P.S. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys, but I think it was the second game of the year, I saw offensive lineman commit Frankie Tinalau in the tunnels going to the locker room after one of the games. Massive. Massive. That is a big dude, man. If he's listed at 6'7", 3.5, every bit of that. So, it was, I'm 6 feet tall, right? So it was definitely a situation where I'm looking up at but that's what you need. So, but you can get FaceTime with all those guys in specific this year and in general. Yeah, this is always a game that is going to have just increased attention, visibility, impact for both schools. So yeah, it's going to be a target-rich environment in terms of elite recruits on Saturday.
Kim, our good buddy of Falconer X, checked in way early tonight.
Let's go, Falconer.
And was just hitting us with comments and super chats, as he typically does. Bam, bam, bam. The Miami theme from all his unique and amusing angles and so forth. But I better be prepared to not only deliver this super chat flawlessly, but with passion and emphatically. Look at that, baby.
Wow.
Falconer X.
Let's go. 305. I see it. Problem is, if your recruiting pitch is to make Miami great again, you better make Miami great, or that sale pitch gets old fast. I agree. Absolutely. And I know that I'm quoting myself every time that I do this, but whatever. I work on it really hard, and it's incredible. You should read it. It's called The Recruiting Rules. It's on still the front page of stateoftheu.com, feature that I wrote in 2018 heading into that season. But number 9, the last of those recruiting rules, is win. You have to have a tangible work product, going back to what James was saying, not just the, ephemeral or it's an intangible thing. No, tangible. You have to go and win games, proof of concept, because otherwise your recruiting's going to flag off. It's going to fall off. Your performance on the field, eventually, if that is the goal, obviously, to become a championship caliber program and get back on that level and perform to that level, eventually you have to get there, right? So if Cristobal, and I believe that he, by demonstrated action, I believe that his paradigm is this is a tear down renovation, not just countertops and cabinets, not just a down to the studs. We need to tear that whole house down before we rebuild it. It's going to take some time, right? So this year, next year, probably not. But next year, regardless of the record this year, the proof of concept of that recruiting pitch is growth, right? An additional win, 2 additional wins. Some of those metrics of, yards per play allowed, or, the explosive rate on offense and defense, which still is atrocious going both ways. But if you have growth along those things that you can tangibly, using James's word, shout out to James, but using, that, saying, hey, we're getting better in these ways along the path towards that goal. We just need another year. We need Cormani to be a sophomore, not a true freshman. You know what I mean? This whole class, we need Akeem Mesidor with another year under his belt. So coming back next year, okay, where's he going to be? Like things like that, that will help along that way. So you do have to have those wins. And again, like, and I mean, it's a terrible, terrible game just in general now. But I mean, looking back at the Texas A&M game, there can be moral victories. There can be steps along that path. But absent or even with those, moral victories need to turn into actual, tangible. On the scoreboard, we scored more points than the other team. We beat them victories. Otherwise, to Falcon Rex's point, well said. And again, 305. Thank you. It will get old, and then it's that point where anybody with kids, and I was a teacher. You say the same thing the same way, the same thing the same way, the same thing the same way, the same thing the same way. What's going to happen? They're going to tune you out. So eventually, either you do something that's different. I taught one day each semester that I taught one singular day, first semester and second semester, completely silently. I did not speak. Oh, well, underwear was going. Just like I got, these little notepads over here. I had notes written on the board, said, okay, cool. First song. So, all right. And we're going to end like everything. And why? Because that gets their attention. Because it's not saying the same thing the same way. And I also went to my administration every year and said, hey, I'm really good at what I do. And our performance is really good. But sometimes I need to shock their systems. So one time a year, I'm going to scream, use some foul language, but I'm going to really roar. And I need you to support me. Just that one time. It's not going to be every day. It's not going to be every week. It's not going to be every time that somebody forgot a note or rhythm or da-da-da-da-da. But one good time every year. So that every 4-year class that came through my program, right? The legend of when Underwood got super pissed. Hey, y'all got it. Okay. Just the one time, right? And again, that's 3 days out of the year that you do something differently. But in the same way in recruiting, you have to do something differently, as in win games. Otherwise, the next, say, obviously Cormani is coming to Miami. 2026, number 1 overall recruit, right? Hey, man, come on down. You're going to be the missing link and da-da-da-da-da. Didn't you say that to Cormani? Didn't you say that to Mami Go? Didn't you say that? And I'm claiming victory before this has actually happened. Didn't you say that to Samson, Pancake Okalola, 5-star from didn't you say that? But what happened? So why is it different? Because I talked to them, because we all in the group chat, right? So they said you told them the same thing, but y'all still going 6-7, losing a bowl game. Have only won one bowl game since 2010, I think it was. One bowl game since then, right? So how's it different for me? And I don't think that's authentic, right? Because you're just saying that to say that because I know I'm like that. So I'm going to go somewhere else. So you do have to deliver eventually to be able to, just continue things. But I'm going to trust Mario. I'm going to give him the time. But like I said, after that Duke game, the combination of the Duke game plus immediately after that, getting core money, the rest of this year is immaterial to me. Because clearly we're still in the teardown phase. We're tearing everything from the roof all the way down to the foundation, adding all kinds of incredible talent in this class, and we're looking forward. So for me right now, do I want to win? Yes. Am I really going to go super ham? No, because it's not about now. It's about laying the foundation for future success.
The guy can obviously recruit. We knew that before last week, but it's underlined that in the face of that performance against Duke and everything else that's going on this year, which, hey, Cam, you weren't there to hear it or witness it, but so a lot of Miami fans were upset with me, but I just stated it this way. I said, Florida State's 5-3, Miami's 4-4, but I don't think the performance of the two teams was comparable through 8 games. They've played better opponents. They've played LSU, NC State, Clemson, etc. Miami's not played a difficult schedule. Obviously, Texas A&M was supposed to be on the top end. I don't think the performance of the two teams has been comparable. And Florida State's not a great team by any stretch.
I agree.
But Mario Cristobal is obviously an amazing recruiter. And even in the face of what's going on right now, he's reeling in recruits, but he does have a track record that he can point to elsewhere. And So maybe he's going to be able to, and it looks like he is going to be able to weather a difficult season, a subpar, a step back before you can step forward kind of season. And those recruits, most of them are going to be okay with that. They're going to be understanding of that.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, and a lot of them are very steadfast on the fact of like, we understand that it's not going the way that it needs to be at Miami right now, but we're going to be the class to come in and get things going back. And I believe it was Jackson Carver was on with another podcast. I think it was with Mike McCoy, who writes for us from time to time in State of the U. And it was just like, nobody said this was going to be easy, but we're fully committed to this. And truth be told, if guys there aren't getting the job done or are not willing or able to do the work to get the job done, then they need to get out of the way, because we are committed to that. And we're going to do the work and we're going to get the job done. So, if you're holding up a spot, just hold up a spot, move aside, because, we're on that. And that can be a powerful mentality. But yeah, you have to be selling the future. You have to say, look, we're not where we need to be. We're not where we want to be, but we need this group and these caliber of players and people to come in and build this organization to the point where we're going to have the success that we want to have in the way that we want to have it.
Folks, of course, you need to thank Cam for this show each and every week, and me to a certain extent, because I do own the channel and I do set him up, if nothing else. But need to thank Cam for this edition of Miami Hurricanes Live each and every week. But shoot, based on what we just saw, we need to thank Falcon Rex for this edition. He's basically sponsored this edition. So, Falcon Rex, thank you so much for that.
Absolutely, man.
It was mentioned in the chat, and I will state this question as well. I know that you said without TVD, there is no path to victory. However, if he does not play, Jake Garcia is a guy that has ability to throw the football. He's got talent to sling it. Now, whether he can diagnose what's going on in front of him, that's another matter. But there are going to be comparable athletes on both sides of the field. So there is a way to win with Jake Garcia on the field. So what would that path be? What does that game look like minus TVD?
First of all, +2 or better in turnovers. I think that we're going to need the advantage of short fields. Just because, I mean, at this point, is it possible for Garcia to direct long drive after long drive against a competent college defense? It's possible. I just think I don't think it is probable at this point. So I think that, you need to be at least +2 in turnovers and turn those into, touchdowns. So I think that there is one of the keys. I think that come hell or high water, you need to find a way to get, Henry Parrish in the, if not at 100, near 100 rushing or more. I think that you need to force field goals on some drives for Florida State. So, I mean, they can have red zone scoring, but in the same way as last week, you bend, but you don't break. You don't let them in the end zone at least a couple of times. And it does harken back to what I had said previously during that 7-game losing streak. But somebody needs to make a positive program defining play. You know what I mean? Like a game winning, season turning program. I mean, because that time, the program was really going downhill. But who's going to be the person? And not the blind interception, not the back-breaking fumble, not the missed tackles against Dalvin Cook, not one of those game-defining plays. Who's going to make an interception? Who's going to break up a pass on 4th down? Like when we played the game on Labor Day up there years ago. Who's going to break a tackle and run down? Where's the Wilson McGahee screen pass in 2002 up the sideline? Not even a touchdown, 76 yards, but flip the field, got us down there. Jason Gathers goes and scores a touchdown, right? But where's that play that tilts the field, that turns the tide, that makes a positive impact in a major, major way? Who's that guy? And like, where is that? And that, I think all of those things need to come together. So +2 in the turnover margin, a decent rushing performance, obviously no backbreaking interceptions by Garcia. And I mean, to that point on, who's going to make a play, it does not need to be a line drive thrown 90-yard touchdown that's a laser beam that floats 5 feet high and then drops in. It doesn't need to be that. But Jake Garcia, if he is the quarterback and on a path to victory with him at quarterback, he's going to have to make some throws. And I mean that with capital letters, not just like where he threw the ball, but like, yo, that was a throw. It's going to have to be 3, 4, 5 of them in key situations. And again, I'm not saying it has to be a touchdown, right? But the year that Kosi led that comeback from 27-7 to win 28-17 or 28-27. Remember that seam route that he threw to Jeff Thomas the play before he hit Brevin Jordan for the touchdown? That throw to Jeff Thomas, that's the kind of throw in a similar situation Jake Garcia needs to make, right? Because that was a 4th down, if I remember correctly. And then on the ball, boom, you put Brevin Jordan one-on-one with the linebacker, kiss the baby, let's go. Cue up the band, touchdown. But cue up the Miami band because the Seminole Marching Chiefs aren't coming to the game because I guess we didn't give them tickets. Yikes. But again, everybody wants to be focused on the touchdown to Brevin Jordan. Without that laser beam, and they're playing cover 2 with the safety over the top. They're playing Tampa 2 with a linebacker trailing and the safety over the top, and the other safety like, yo, I'm coming over. So there's literally 3 guys converging, and Nkosi put it into, this little itty bitty window. But you had to hit that to get the first down to be able to make the touchdown throw. And that's what I'm talking about when Jake Garcia is going to have to make some throws. It's not just touchdowns, but a throw like that one to Jeff Thomas that I've been talking about. Something like that in a key moment against tight coverage with the rush bearing down on him, and maybe he has to slide. Something like that is going to happen. And again, that could be a version of that positive program changing play. But on that list, or on the list of these plays aided or added towards a step towards Miami's victory, is going to need to be probably 2, 3, 4 or more of those kind of throws, kind of plays from Jake Garcia.
Kim Underwood, State of the U, breaking down Miami, Florida State. So please like the video, everyone, and bring more folks in next Wednesday at 7 Eastern time. The last thing I got for you is, so whether it be because of Jake Garcia's struggles or because of Ja'Cory Brown's progress that we don't see necessarily, but in practice, or just a different look for the Florida State defense, do you think we'll see Brown more this Saturday?
Yeah, the coaches have they even said that on Monday. Mario Cristobal said clearly Ja'Cory. The U is supposed to be an A, but
I tried to say it correctly, so I didn't realize Ja'Cory Brown.
Yeah, okay. like I drive a car. Yeah. So Ja'Cory is going to play. So he's at his redshirt limit now. He's played in 4 games, but that apparently is not a concern for the staff. So he will be Chris Ball clearly said, I think I tweeted it live during his presser on Monday, that he's going to play this week. So, the one pass that they did call for Ja'Cory, I think that was emblematic of the growth that is still needed in terms of his ability, in terms of his consistent accuracy and repeatable technique. Because big kid, big arm, we've seen it in practices. Everybody's talking about, he can throw it a country mile. You see it in his high school days and everything. But, he skips a bubble or like a quick spacing route curl. He skips it. He throws a grounder. And I'm like, that's not anything but like you didn't execute consistently the technique you were taught. And I think that right there is emblematic of like where his growth needs to happen. And, Josh Gaddis was, on Monday saying, hey, like this is a guy who's shown that he's able to hit that throw. He's able to hit other throws and things like that. And again, it's just, Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth, right? And it's different on air or in practice versus a different team of scholarship players with different jerseys who are trying to inhibit your performance. And yeah, so there's that. I mean, he's really dynamic in the run game, obviously. So we're going to continue to run that UPS Express. I like to call it, what can Brown do for you? The UPS Express package. I think that package is going to grow. Cristobal and Gaddis said that package of plays for him is going to continue to grow throughout this season. And I think that this is a perfect game to be able to roll him out there and be the changeup or the fastball to the changeup, the Trevor Hoffman kind of changeup, which is his, bread and butter. Like, okay, we're giving you lots of changeups and everything. Like, yeah, let's bring in this fastball. Let me reach back for 99. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing, because yeah, he can clearly run. He's able, he has wiggle. He's able to step out of tackles and everything. And there are other plays where if you go back, and I looked at a few, I need to see if I can find all of them, but you can see like what he's doing or on the field, you can set up trick plays. There was one play where I think that they had both quarterbacks on the field and he was the number 2 receiver in the slot and ended up coming back behind. Yeah, that's an end around now, but that's also a double pass. You know what I mean? Like there's other things where you can scaffold other things on top of that. And hey, maybe this is the week that you see that kind of thing where it's like, hey, we're going, balls to the wall. We're going to bring out, a couple different trick plays and everything. I don't know who's left-handed on this team. I had to go back and see. That's the thing that Bud Elliott and I have been talking about for years, the left-handed player trick play, because basically everybody assumes that most quarterbacks are right-handed. So you think, okay, like if you're running to the left, there's no way you're going to, oh, shoot, like OBJ or whoever's left-handed, and you're gonna go send that thing. So maybe you find one of the left-handed players to go run a trick play or something like that, which is just a level of trickeration on top of just normal trickeration, which hey, it's maybe just that same thing where it's hashtag right, as in right-handed supremacy, where like, yeah, I don't think of somebody as left-handed being a dangerous kind of throwing option on a trick play. So maybe you do something like that. But yeah, the Ja'Cory Brown package, UPS Express, as I'm calling it, is going to continue to evolve and grow. And I think that you're going to see probably, I think he had like 8 to 10 snaps last week. I think something in that range, depending on the number of snaps, because Miami had 70 offensive snaps last week, I think. Hold on. 70 offensive snaps, and I think that he played on about 10 to 12%. I think that kind of a ratio of UPS Express to total plays would fit in this kind of a game, and it could either increase or decrease depending on performance.
Or you do what the Cowboys did in the 78 Super Bowl, and they went toss sweep left to Robert Newhouse, a big, broad-shouldered, big, burling fullback, and he's right-handed. He had to cross over and throw it, and he threw it beautifully. Perfect. I wouldn't suggest that for most, but they pulled it off.
The only time that I've really seen something like that is even in this season is the throwback. Where like, they'll toss it left and it'll be run. And it's not even just like, I'm going to flip my hips and try to throw it downfield. Like I'm pulling a complete 180, boom, and or 270 all the way over here. And I'm throwing it back to the quarterback, a la the return, which, if you don't know, the 7-year anniversary of that wonderful, incredible night was just a couple days ago on, actually 2 days ago on Thanksgiving night. Halloween. So yeah, something like one of those throws back across, maybe the last one that actually went to Corn Elder from Dallas Crawford. Like, yeah, that backwards throw. I've seen that on some toss plays to the non-dominant hand side or whatever. But I mean, you could do anything. But yeah, I think that both teams are going to have, and we've seen this even, in recent games, even in that, I think it was 19 game with Nkosi at quarterback. Yeah, like Florida State, they tried to double pass that year. Unfortunately, they don't understand in front of and behind, the line. So they got penalized for a double forward pass because it was a correct call for double forward pass. But, they haven't run that all season. They haven't run a double pass like that since, So whether it's the UPS Express package or something else. Like, you're going to see trick plays from both teams, because that's just what this game brings out of everybody.
Clemson fan BGPO football funk. Clemson will have an explosive offense versus Miami. Okay.
Cool. And look, I think the offense might be explosive, but like, that's in spite of, not because of, DJ Uiagalelei. I think that Cade Klubnik is better, and I think that DJ is very, very limited, and he has a clear ceiling, which he's already shown. And like, I'm not crazy for that. And I think if you had a little bit of distance between yourself and your team, you would see that. And this is where I've gotten into arguments with Miami fans, because like, hey, 2017, Malik Rozier at quarterback. I think that, well, no, everything is perfect and we're winning all these games. All right, bro. I think that you're too close to it, and I think that you're not seeing the forest through the trees. But hey, and I think that clearly you want to be emotional about that, just because Cade Klubnik is not the generational, legendary, all-time great that Trevor Lawrence was, right? Because this is a kid from sophomore year of high school. Everybody, oh, this kid is number one in America. Like, there's no debate about it and everything. But when people said, hey, look, even with limited snaps and not a whole lot of usage to that point, Kelly Bryant got to hit the bricks, because this kid here, Kelly Bryant led y'all to a playoff the previous year and everything. So, way more accomplished and all kinds of things like that. But when push came to shove, it's just like, hey, man, we got to be real about what this is. And with all due respect and love in our heart, Kelly Bryant, we're going to go in a different direction. And nobody have a problem with that. But just because you want to be a bleeding heart connected to the player, and like, I do this sometimes when I'm playing. If I bust out my PS3 and I play NCAA 14, I want the guys that I've recruited previously to start. But if there's a freshman who comes in and they're about the same, or they have a couple, interior statistics or attributes that lend themselves more to what I'm trying to do, I'm so sorry, fictitious player, you're going to have to hit the bench, because this other kid's going to play. And look, I get it. I want to be loyal to those guys, and I get why you would want to be loyal to DJ Uiagalelei. But like, again, I think that you are too close to it. And I get where Dabo came out and said, look, this is the guy. It's DJ and whatever. I get, as a guy who runs a program. But again, I believe you're talking out the side of your neck. Shout out to Cameo, because you yourself already, Dabo, have gone to the other guy for the good of the group. Not just in the game he got benched, but previously in your tenure at this same institution. Like, again, we've seen your movies, bro. We've seen you do this. So bringing this up and say, hey, this is the next iteration thereof, and then saying, well, no, that's ridiculous. And why is it ridiculous? Just because Cade Klubnik does not have the legendary cachet of Trevor Lawrence? I don't think that is doing a proper service to any player on the roster, DJ included. I don't think that you're doing an actual service to anybody by continuing to play him as opposed to the better current and future player in Cade Klubnik. I don't believe that, because if you're real and honest, it's going to be like Kelly Bryant. And hey, yeah, he's played too much this year to redshirt, right? But let's be real. We're going to go with number 2 Klubnik. I will connect and I will call any coach in the country. I got your back. I want you to be successful. But I believe that path of success might have to be somewhere else, because we're going with this other guy. There's nothing wrong with actually being real. And I think I think you're really doing a disservice to everybody for pretty much just lying. I think to be disingenuous, but
And he is even, Dabo meaning, set the precedence for this season, because he already pulled DJ. And the leash is probably going to be, as the stakes grow higher, going to be even shorter in the future.
Yeah, well, that was an outlier situation. Was it? Because I don't think it was. I just think that he's trying to sell us, a bill of goods, and I'm not buying.
What makes that game so unique? You're Clemson, and your goal is to win the ACC, then play in the playoffs. So every game you need to win. So why is that such a unique situation? You were behind. DJ's not playing well. You replaced him. That's what the
Right.
situation was.
Right, exactly. His performance was not meeting the standard, and that inhibited your team from the kind of performance and result that you needed based upon your path and goals. So then you went, why exactly? Why is it different? It's not. It's really not. And hey, maybe, and I don't know this, but maybe DJ has a fragile ego, and and Dabo knows that he has to coddle him in this kind of a way or whatever. But and that's way too much talk about Clemson. But I just don't believe what I don't believe what he's selling. Period.
And just to honor a question Falconer X had asked minus a super chat, but thank you so much for another super chat, Falconer X. Falconer X asked if there's a possibility that TVD, even if he's not quite capable, ready, physically able to, could play some of the game. That's kind of how
that's possible.
Comment.
I think that maybe it would be more of who was the injured quarterback who he worked out last weekend. There was a quarterback in college football who got knocked out of a game. No, it was 2 weeks ago. It was Gabriel at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
he went through warm-ups. He went through early outs. He came back in a uniform. He went through full warm-ups and everything. Didn't play a snap in that game. I think maybe that is a thing. I find it hard to see a path towards Tyler Van Dyke playing a little bit because his skill set in general, not the specific ability in that skill set, but his archetype as a player is so closely related to Garcia's archetype as a player. Mm-hmm. So whereas the UPS Express package, with Ja'Cory Brown, I hate that you. Anyway, but with Ja'Cory Brown, his skill set is so different, right? So you're okay. Now we're bringing in all kinds of inverted V or quarterback power. We can do that because his running ability is a different player archetype than Garcia or Van Dyke. And I think Garcia and Van Dyke are so similar in skill set, maybe not exact ability, but so closely related in skills. And just kind of the overall archetype of what they do on the field that maybe I need to think about it, but currently, as I sit here right now, I don't see how that would work.
Yeah, it's almost like an odd calculated risk to say,
right,
let's get TVD some reps. Hopefully he can toss 2 quick TDs. Then we can get him out before he gets hurt and nurse home a win.
Or it's, it's a rotational thing. Like, okay, can you play a little bit? Can you play, a couple snaps here? Just like, Ja'Cory Brown coming off the bench. Okay, we're going to go a couple snaps here. But then again, you're, probably going to, you can run the full offense because you can run the ball and everything. But it increases the passing proficiency. But run a couple plays here, a couple plays there. He has, maybe a drive here, drive there. It's a good question because it really has my brain going. You know what I mean? And that's just a thing where I'm going to need to think about and consider. It's kind of like having a fight with a girlfriend and she's been thinking about it all day. You come home, it's like, whoa, I'm being onboarded to this now. So hold on, give me a minute. And I think that, not obviously saying Falconer X is my girlfriend because duh, but in the same kind of a way where he thought about that and he brought it up and it's just been brought to me. Maybe that's the thing that I can consider throughout the rest of the week. But my immediate reaction and as I'm going through these early, topical thoughts on it, I just don't see how that fits for a player. I just don't see how it fits with Van Dyke in this situation. I don't, but let me think about that. That's a good question though. That's a good one. That's a really good question. Thank you, Falcon Rex. That was a really great question. That really got my brain going. I'm gonna have to sit here and think about that one.
Folks who are normally not here, including Florida State fans, hey, you may want to stop by once in a while. If you love college football and you're going to want to see and hear from a different perspective, hey, be open-minded. Jump on in. And Miami fans, bring some folks with you next Wednesday, 7 Eastern. All right, Cam, what do you got for us?
We got a story stream up of all of our stories on stateoftheu.com throughout this Florida State week. As I reload the website right now and I go back to the top, there have already been, I believe, 9 pieces in there. We got roundtables going up. Today is Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. I should probably get that out of there today because part 2 is supposed to go out tomorrow. I was dealing with some things today, so I didn't get it up earlier. But yeah, so we got a bunch of those kind of things.
He is
Thanks,
a handsome man.
Falconer.
Yes, Falconer. Yes,
No,
he is.
I get it. I don't know. You missed the one show because it was your lovely wife's birthday a while back. So yeah, well aware of that, my friend. But yeah, so we have some good things over on stateoftheu.com. So please come on over and fan with us. We're really just leaning in. I did a thing talking about portal players. There was a feature on Jared Verse, so kind of looking, through the looking glass to the other team's roster and impact player. We looked at Miami's performance through the 1980s and Florida State's through the 1990s. So whose decade of dominance was better? And there's a great narrative to support both sides and also a conclusion in there. So you should go and check that out. And there's more waiting for you. So, we had a piece up for, I think Jake Marcus wrote it after Cormoney McClain committed, because I don't know if you can see it, but that's my famous recliner right here behind me, which is technically broken with the legs up, kind of a thing. So if I sit on there, I will fall asleep. And I fell asleep and took a nap because I was not checking for the Cormoney McClain commitment. And if you know, whenever I take a nap around a commitment time, usually something good happens for Miami. And that was one of the best things that's happened in Miami recruiting in a while. But we
We're
wrote a
going
piece
to
up about that.
brunch, right? Wasn't there a story around brunch? You went to
That
brunch.
was the Manny Diaz Mark rigged
Rick.
for my friend's birthday in January. Yeah, which was kind of just crazy. Exactly. But same thing where I'm not 100% just like dialed in on the timeline or anything like that. So, I mean, hey, it could be a brunch. It could be, a nap or whatever, any kind of things like that. But whether I'm sleeping or not, the website, stateoftheu.com, is always open, ready for you guys to come on over and fan with us. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The State of the U. My personal Twitter account is at Underwood Sports, where I tweet about all kinds of a variety of topics and interact with people. So, please come on over and fan with us. If you see me during the tailgates this weekend, please come on up and say hi. I've shouted out a couple people that I've met who watch the show and everything, who come out in person. I've seen people, in other places like, hey, Cam Underwood, right? I'm like, yo, awesome. So it's, doing digital media sometimes, whether it's, podcast or video, you kind of just do it and you put it out there. And I'm looking at a screen on the back end of the studio side, and I'm not sure if this actually connects with somebody. And it's really rewarding and fulfilling to hear and see you guys that, this is going out there, that you guys do enjoy it. And like, I'm a real boy, you know what I mean? Like, shout out to Pinocchio, like I'm really out there, and, I'll share a drink with you and whatever. So yeah, please come on over and, just say hi and anything. Come on over and fan with us, stateoftheu.com and everywhere else that you can find me. And back here next Wednesday at 7.
And so to Cam's point, I get it. I enjoy certain YouTube channels and I just click on it and I enjoy it and I move on. But let's understand that we're trying to build something here and continue to grow and flourish with more people. So just consider getting the video links out there and inviting more people in to help us build this beyond what it currently is. Absolutely. Cam, enjoy the game. It is an ABC primetime game.
Long day ahead, but well worth it, my friend. I'll see you guys soon.